From email to Skype, from texting to Google Hangouts, technology has changed the way we communicate with one another, especially in the workplace. What we say, how we say it, when we say it, and who we say it to can make a world of difference in how employees feel and think about their workplace, employer, and projects they are working on. A business can only be successful if it has a strong foundation. And here at Interactive Developers, that foundation is built and held together by a strong communication line amongst its coworkers. From transparency to task delegation to showing confidence and adaptability, in this presentation, we will discuss what we here at Interactive Developers feel are the best communication practices, how they can be effective, and hopefully implemented. So without further hesitation, let's jump right into our first effective communication practice.
An important tip for effective communication is to set a deadline. But even more importantly is keeping that deadline. Setting a deadline shows that you're on top of things and know exactly what you're going to do and how you're going to do it. But more importantly is keeping that deadline. You want to have everything done when you said you would to show that you're reliable. But at the same time, if you're a client, you don't want to keep changing the deadline, or your person that's working for you isn't going to know when they need to have stuff turned in. If you all of a sudden say something's due a couple days earlier, you're not going to get as good of quality of work as you would have if you would have kept the original deadline. Another important tip for effective communication is to show confidence. If you're going into an interview, you want to show that you're confident in yourself and your abilities so that they're more likely to take a look at your resume again and really consider hiring you. And this really goes for anything. If you show confidence and show that you know what you're doing, people are going to respect you and they're going to trust you, so they're more likely to listen to what you have to say.
Another important skill for effective communication is the ability to prioritize. Projects require the completion of many individual tasks before the assignment as a whole is complete. Some of these individual tasks carry heavier weight than others. For example, some tasks require larger budgets or longer time frames. Use your best judgment on what tasks should be started or completed earlier on in the project. In order to effectively prioritize, begin with making a list. After writing your project plan, meeting with the client, and gathering all the necessary information, list all of the tasks, beginning with the most demanding, time-consuming, or costly one. Next, if you're working as a team, discuss and share this list of priorities with your coworkers. Gather their input on the list and make collective decisions about any changes. Even if you're working alone, it's best to meet with others to overhear their opinions about the project. Look at the big picture. If you're too busy focused on one element, you may overlook the others. If you're a designer creating a custom bathtub for a client, you may spend hours perfecting the tub itself, but if the dimensions are off, it may not fit into the bathroom. Acknowledge how individual tasks impact one another to ensure the project propels forward as a whole. Do not procrastinate. Procrastinating on larger projects will delay the assignment, aggravate your team, and increase your budget. Begin prioritizing from day one, and stay on task. Adaptability is another important skill for effective communication. When working with clients and coworkers, there's always room for change. The client may demand variations in the project, the budget may dwindle or rise, and complications may surface. Unfortunately, you don't have control over surprise obstacles or customer requests. However, you do have control in how you handle these situations when they arise. How can you enforce adaptability? First, avoid over-communication. If you're working with a client that keeps changing elements of the project, don't confuse your coworkers by updating them constantly, especially about tasks that haven't started yet or don't involve them. For example, if you were an artist painting a picture, you wouldn't fret over the frame when you were currently painting the image. Unless the specific task required prioritizing, don't confuse others by communicating every detail, especially unnecessary ones. It's important to update your team, but don't go into depth when it's not merited. Avoid micromanaging. If you're working with others, don't try and control every element of the project. It's important to oversee that tasks are being completed properly in a timely manner, but critiquing and/or controlling every step will only result in unnecessary stress. Be flexible. Change is inevitable. If you encounter obstacles throughout your project, take a deep breath, think clearly, and deal with the change properly. And always, always remember to keep your team in the loop, whenever obligatory.
When it comes to effective communication, strong interpersonal skills can make the difference between a successful project and a lost cause. Congratulating coworkers on their successes, being mindful and supportive during their setbacks, and treating all team members with respect and understanding are just a few of the techniques that can drastically improve communication skills within an organization. By applying the golden rule to the hectic and results-driven world of project management, we believe Interactive Developers LLC will see a drastic improvement in the productivity of their employees. As such, we recommend the following. Encourage. Applaud your coworkers' hard work and dedication to the project. Let them know that they are a valued employee and that you appreciate their contributions. Be honest. Sugarcoating or avoiding issues altogether can have severe ramifications when it comes to managing a project. Tell your coworkers and employees the truth in a kind and courteous manner. They might not like the answer, but they'll respect the fact that you were honest with them from the start. Empathize. Put yourself in someone else's shoes and try to see things from their point of view. Dismissing a notion outright because you've never considered different perspectives can be a shortcut to disaster. Listen to others and try to understand where they're coming from. Be optimistic. Not every project is smooth sailing. In fact, sometimes they can be downright turbulent. Keeping a good outlook shows others that you have faith in their abilities and in the project as a whole. Sympathize. Understand that your coworkers have triumphs and travails outside of the office just like you. Listen to them and let them know that you care. Be a shoulder to cry on when they need it, and a pat on the back when they don't expect it. In short, treat them with the respect and understanding that we all deserve. Another important aspect to effective communication in a project management setting is task delegation. Since large projects are typically broken up into smaller groups for a more effective workflow, it's important that each employee knows their specific role. Project managers must take great care to ensure that assignments are followed to the letter. To create a more straightforward and streamlined communications approach to task delegation, we propose that project managers implement the following protocols. Be specific. Make sure that employees know exactly what the responsibilities are for their assigned task. Have them confirm the parameters of the assignment to be sure that they understand. Give ownership. There are various moving parts to any project, so it's important that employees have a sense of pride and responsibility for their share of the work. By letting them know that this assignment is theirs and theirs alone, you effectively give them a stake in the finished product. Work to your strengths. You wouldn't want your dry cleaner to work on your plumbing, or your mailman to tune your car. Why match someone to a task that they're unsuited for? Effective communication and task delegation is learning the strengths and weaknesses of your workforce and then coordinating them with the assignments that they are best suited for. Stick to schedules. The bane of any project is issues with time management. Be sure all employees are aware of the various schedules for each part of the project and ensure that progress reports are filed on a regular basis to avoid unpleasant surprises.
One of the key elements of effective communication is transparency between management and its employees. Transparency is not just good ethics anymore, it's good business. Since more and more employees seek to be aware of what is real and true, transparency has become a high workplace demand. Leaders who are now proactive in sharing where the company is heading can now keep the top talented employees by creating a workplace culture that is based upon trust and openness. So how do we as a company become transparent? How can we maintain the trust with ourselves as well as our employees? And the answer comes by following the 5 C's of communication, with the first C being clear. State the subject, and stay on the subject. Do not wander. Wandering from point to point leads to confusion. Be concise. Get to the point. Stay on task. Understanding the project goals leads to less problems and a stronger focus on work. Be courteous, which means being polite. Understanding your employees' emotions and tones allows for a well-balanced communication line. Be consistent. Use appropriate tone. When message elements do not support the intended message, it leads to confusion. And lastly, be compelling. As a leader, we need to give our employees a reason to pay attention. Having pride in your work gives employees the satisfaction that they should have pride in completing theirs. And next, to be an effective communicator, we must not only be well-spoken, but be good listeners as well. Employees feel a sense of worth when they feel their words are being noticed. So how can we become better listeners? Well, the first being focus fully on the speaker. Pay attention to his or her body language. Employees can feel unappreciated and start to lose focus if they feel that their words are falling upon deaf ears. Secondly, avoid interruptions. Listening is not the same as waiting for your turn to talk. And third, avoid seeming judgmental. Seeming standoffish leads to problems within the team. Set aside judgment and criticism in order to fully understand a person. And lastly, show your interest. Encouragement is key in this situation. If you're interested in what the speaker has to say, others will as well. A posture that is open and inviting allows a person to feel relaxed.
Effective communication can be the difference between a successful project and a failed attempt, a productive workplace and a dysfunctional office. Again, remember that what we say, how we say it, when we say it, and who we say it to can make the world of difference in how employees feel and think about their workplace, employer, and projects they are working on. Here at Interactive Developers, we strongly promote that transparency, listening, prioritizing, adaptability, deadline setting, confidence, strong interpersonal skills, and task delegation are the default communication skills needed in order to maintain a successful and productive work environment. Thank you.